8,000 years ago, there's a Roman general named Mark Antony, who fell in love with an Egyptian queen named Cleopatra. On their wedding day, Antony presented her with 3 bejeweled eggs, as a symbol of their undying love and devotion. In the future, people believe that the story of the 3rd eggs is just a myth, until in 1907, the 2 of them were found by local farmers in Cairo. In the present, the 1st egg is being kept in a museum of Rome in Italy, and for the 2nd egg, it was sold in auction several times and now is being owned by a rich collector. A man and a woman just arrived at the museum. The man is John Hartley, an FBI special agent profiler and investigator, and the woman is Das, an Interpol cop inspector. They need to be there because someone named Bishop informed them that the egg is going to be stolen by an international art thief named Nolan Booth. They enter the museum and having a conversation with the museum director. He insists that the egg is safe and they don't need them to be there. However, Hartley still feels suspicious about it, so he took a thermal sensor to scan the egg and found out that the egg is possibly fake. To reassure it, he take a can of Coke and pouring it to the egg. It turned out that the egg is fake, and it really shocks everyone. Even the museum director looked like he just found his daughter OnlyFans. In an instant, the guard pressed the button to close all the doors, but before the door completely closed, Hartley recognized Nolan Booth and chased after him. In the end, Hartley found him and pushed him to the window, causing the both of them to fall, but fortunately still managed to hold on the edge of the building. Nolan noticed there's a pipe underneath and dropped himself. He slid through the pipe and managed to get out. As he reached the road, he met an NPC and take his motorcycle. Hartley saw him and take a car to chase him, but unfortunately he got hit by another car and lost him. 2 days later, Nolan has arrived in Bali. He hides in his private house while he's about to celebrate his success for stealing the egg, but then he got surprised when realizing that a retired WWE wrestler has been sitting on his couch. Not only that, the man also brings out the Interpol inspector and her team. She then walks over and says that she's going to send him to the worst place ever. James Charles Instagram, the prison. Hartley puts the egg and leave it in the truck. As he walks away, one of the cop came and replaced the egg with the fake one. After the truck leaves, the cop opened the mask and it reveals that she is actually the bishop herself. The next day, Das shows up to confront Hartley. She shows the egg and drop it to the floor like she doesn't care with the cleaning worker. She's accusing Hartley for switching the egg, as she has discovered that he's not a registered FBI agent. She also found out that he got a transfer of $8 million in his bank account. Hartley, who has no idea, then denies it and says that he's innocent, but however all the proofs are pointing at him. So without hesitation, Das ordered the Interpol cop to arrest him and send him to prison. Hartley has arrived at the prison. The guards take him to his cell and it turns out that Nolan is his new cellmate. At lunchtime they have some conversation together. They think that it must be the bishop's plan to eliminate an art thief competitor and FBI investigator in one move. Nolan then reveals that the reason behind it because there's billionaire in Egypt, who's going to pay $300 million for whoever bring all the Cleopatra's eggs to his daughter's wedding night. Now it's only a time for Bishop to get the 2nd egg. As they know, the 2nd egg is being kept in a secret vault of a Spanish arm dealer named Sotto Voce. This man used to throw a masquerade party once every year, and it can be the way for crooks to steal the egg. Nolan thinks that he should have about to do it if it's not for being captured. Frustrated about what had just happened to him, he got up and reveals Hartley's real identity. He tells that he's not only a cop but also an FBI agent. Everyone becomes silent, except for one NPC's in the back. He got trigger of what Nolan just said and walked towards them. He then challenged Hartley and flexing his fighting skill in front of him. The guards see their performance and got amazed. They then send them back to their cell so they can take a rest before doing other performance. But only a moment pass, the guards are back, and brought them to the captain's office. It turns out that the prison's captain is the bishop herself. Bishop then explained that she wants them to help her collect all the eggs. She claims she's going to get the 2nd one in less than 48 hours, but the problem is she doesn't know where's the last egg location. She got proofs that Nolan knows where it's located. She then offers that she's going to let them free, and give him 10% of the profits if he agrees to help her. Nolan thinks that helping her is only making him to be the world's 2nd best art thief, so without hesitation he decides to refuse the offer. After rejecting the offer, they decide to work together as a team in order to stop Bishop from collecting the egg. They know that Sotto Voce's party is going to be held in 2 days, so they begin to prepare their escaping plan. After spending time together, they begin to be closer and more open. Nolan even shares his evil origin villain story. When he was 8 years old, his father accused him for stealing his watch. He denied it and said that he didn't do it, but his father didn't believe and calling him a liar. Few weeks after that, his father was seen wearing his watch while watching Cardi B's concert, and it turned out that he put his watch on his desk but covered by his paperworks. His father never apologized and it made him really upset. He stopped talking to him since then until now, not when he hits puberty for the first time. Not when his stepsister got stuck on their washing machine for the 912 times. And not even when he realized that he's an orphan, after he's finally taking his schizophrenia medicines. The next day they come to the washroom, they sabotage the washing machine by mixing some chemicals. The machine got exploded and it throws some people to the air. It's causing some distractions that gives them enough time to reach the exit. They then open it by using a key card that Nolan stole from the guard when Hartley got attacked. They manage to get out of the building and eventually finding a helicopter. Nolan runs ahead to it, while Hartley will cover him from the back. There's no serious trouble for him, until one guard shoot them a missile using an RPG. It hit the bridge but luckily Hartley managed to jump and reach the helicopter. Apparently the trouble doesn't seem to be end here. The guard once again shoot the missile, but fortunately Hartley managed to open the other door just in the right time. Now they become unreachable and successfully escape. Move to London. Bishop break through the intelligent analyst office and using their computer to erase her track. She also informed DOS that Hartley and Nolan have escaped from the prison, and sent her an invitation to attend at the Sado Voces party in the next night. In the other hand, Hartley and Nolan are in their path to go to Sado Voce's house. They got picked up by Nolan's friend using a private jet. They then prepare a plan how to break through Sado Voce's house to get into his secret vault. Nolan then reveals some information about the security system. He tells that there will be 2 guards in each door who will rotate regularly in a few minutes. There's also 87 CCTV cameras that will be monitoring every corner of the house. And for the vault itself, they need to get the face and voice recognition which Nolan has prepared for it. They also need to insert 12 random digits code that can only be accessed from the Voce's phone, after scanning his thumbprint. Later at night, they finally arrived at the party. Hartley disguised as a guest while Nolan disguised as a waiter. They then split up to do their own tasks. Hartley will be responsible of getting the phone, while Nolan will be looking for the thumbprint. By chance Hartley notices the Bishop and walks over her. He then compliments how gorgeous and how match the color of her dress with her shoe. Bishop is feeling cringe by how mediocre of his flirt and could not bear to leave, but Hartley, who has not got her number yet, then pulled her hand and forced her to dance with him.
Shut the fuck up!
They dance so gracefully that Voce himself feels like he's only a side character. He then walks to them where at the same time, he places his drinking glass that contain his fingerprints on the tray that Nolan is carrying. He then interrupts them by asking Bishop if she would like to dance with him. He mentions that he really hates seeing the most beautiful woman in his party, dancing with other men mostly who look like Johnny Sins. Hartley's not getting offended at all, and instead sees this as an opportunity. He then pretending to accidentally bump into him to steal his phone. After having everything they needed, they begin to execute their plan. First Nolan hacked the security system to get rid of the CCTV cameras, and set the guard rotation timer. They walk carefully between the guards and manage to arrive at Voce's room. With all of the equipment has been provided, they proceed to unlock the vault, but after the vault door got open, DOS suddenly shows up from behind while pointing a gun at them. Hartley then tried to calm her down by explaining that it's only misunderstanding, and he's only doing his plan in order to catch the real thief. DOS doesn't believe it and order him to arrest Nolan as a proof. However, he refuses it and immediately enter the vault room, leaving her like an abandoned child. The egg is near their eyes, but unexpectedly the Bishop also managed to be there by using another entrance. She states that the egg should be hers and challenged them to fight for it. Bishop is very skillful. Hartley and Nolan can't do much, instead of got beaten. They end up lose while Bishop got the egg. A moment later Voce and his men come in. Hartley and Nolan reveal that Bishop is a thief and they're being there just to catch her. Voce doesn't listen to it and it turns out that he and Bishop are partnership. Previously Bishop told him that they were going to steal the egg, and convince him that if they can catch them, they can have the third egg location which they both wanted. In the next scene, Bishop forces Nolan to reveal the third egg location. She states that if he refuses it, she's gonna torture Hartley using an electric cables, but Nolan doesn't care about it, and letting her do it. Knowing that the method is useless, Voce become impatient but also got a better idea. He decides to give Nolan a lesson by showing him what the real manpower is. He then approach Hartley and doing some important business. Seems like Nolan got a bit traumatized. He gives up and reveals the egg's locations. He mentions that it's in one of the grave of an Egyptian king in the pyramid. He also added that the information is very valid, because he's been a fan of The Mummy from 1999 by Stephen Sommers. They finally got the answer, so Bishop and Voce make celebration by drinking together, but previously Bishop has added some drugs to his drink. Voce doesn't think he would be betrayed, so he drank it and passed out. After that, Bishop take the second egg with her and leave them. Not long after, Voce wakes up from his unconsciousness. It seems that the drugs he drank still affected him, causing his vision to be blurry. Voce then pull his gun and shooting at Nolan and Hartley blindly. Luckily one of the bullets hit Hartley's cuffs, giving him a chance to free himself. Hartley then punched Voce right in the face to knock him out. With the very tired conditions, Hartley decides to go alone, leaving Nolan who's still being cuffed. Hartley's very sick of anything and doesn't want to be involved in any kind of mess anymore. Nolan then convinces him not to leave by saying some words to him. He says that he would help him clearing his name and staying on his side. He also mentions that the egg's location he said earlier was only lies, and promised him to tell the real location if he's willing to free him. The next scene showing that they make it to be in a train together. Nolan, who previously promised to tell Hartley the third egg location, suddenly said that he had changed his mind. This made Hartley very angry, and attempting to kill him by throwing him out of the train. But Nolan instead challenged him to do it. He said that it's not possible for him to do so, even though he has been pretending to be a criminal with him. That doesn't change the fact that he is actually a good person. Hartley became speechless for a moment, then quickly pulled Nolan back inside. After that, Hartley tries to convince him by saying if he is willing to tell him the egg's location, he will help him become the world's #1 art thief again. He says that he wants him to realize that they can complete each other like one another. Just like social media with retardness, TikTok with cringiness, or even Dwayne Johnson with Kevin Hart. He just wants to accomplish his goals, but he can't do it alone. Not without his help. Not without seeing his smiles. Not if it needs to be without him. Seems like Hartley's words managed to touch his heart. Nolan just became softened and finally willing to be more open. He then reveals some stories about the third egg. He tells that the end of the Second World War II, Hitler's art and antique dealer named Rudolf Zeig was rumored to have taken the third Cleopatra's egg. He fled from Germany for Argentina by a simmer ship, while carrying 100 cargo containers that contained with machine parts. For 70 years, treasure hunters searched for the Nazi treasure bunker, including his own father. So he sneaked into his office to find some clues about the treasure bunker. Fortunately he found his father's watch, that unexpectedly was the same watch as Rudolf's, which contained the coordinates to the Nazi treasure bunker. Long short story, they are now arrived in the forest of Argentina. After walking for 8 hours, Hartley begins to doubt Nolan's ability to read the map, and it turns out that he has been reading it upside down. Hartley become filled with anger and throw the compass that Nolan was using as a guide. But after throwing it unexpectedly the compass hit a hard surface, which is the entrance to the secret bunker. It is seen that the bunker contains of many treasures. One of them is a classic Mercedes car which worth a lot. A moment after, Nolan's eyes fall on a box that looks suspicious. He then opens it and as expected, the box contains of the third Cleopatra's eggs which they were looking for. But unfortunately Bishop also arrived there, followed by Das and her team who secretly following her. Das then order the Interpols to arrest them all. Hartley, Nolan and Bishop who are outnumbered are being forced to run away. They then take the Mercedes car and manage to be outrun for a moment, but Das who doesn't give up decide to keep chasing them. Now they look like they be in a Fast and Furious movie, but without the bald head guy who can manage anything because he got family. In the end they manage to eliminate the Interpol cops and force Das to survive alone, but without them knowing, the tunnel they are passing through is about to be ended. They then free fall from the top and ended up in the river. Fortunately Nolan managed to secure the egg. He then walks up to the beach, but when he arrived there, he found no one but himself. He becomes so worried about Hartley and decides to head back to the river, but it turns out that he's totally fine. A moment later Bishop also comes up from the river. Nolan then approached her to declare his victory. He claimed that he has become the world's #1 art thief again. He also mentioned that it's time for her to be arrested. But just as she is about to be arrested by Hartley, they instead staring for a moment and kissed each other in front of him. It turns out that the Bishops are actually two people. They are a couple who work together to collect all the eggs. They probably could get the first and the second egg easily, but they need a plan that would involve Nolan to trick him into revealing their last egg location. Now with no any choice left, Nolan has to give up and hand over the egg. Hartley then cuff him to a tree and let him to be caught by the Interpols, while they will head to Cairo to exchange the eggs for the prize. Few hours later they have arrived at the wedding. It is seen that the billionaire is giving some important speech about how rich he is, which ended up with him flexing the tree Cleopatra's eggs in front of everyone. But not longer after that, Das and other Interpol cops suddenly come in to give a surprise gift to the billionaire, by arresting him for keeping historical treasures. In the other hand, the Bishop couple who saw it from afar, then casually leaving the location while being unnoticed. 6 months later they are seen enjoying their luxury vacation, where the uninvited Nolan also being there. Apparently he has been arrested by the Interpol cops but managed to escape. To take a revenge on them, he reveals to Das the location of their bank account, which is also containing their $300 million, causing the account to be frozen and left them in bankrupt. Nolan then made an offer to team up with him in order to do some other art theft again, and if they refused he will let them be arrested by Das who's being on the way. They both agreed with the offer, then they left the place together, which make Das unable to find them. Das then returned to her office and put some red notice on each of their criminal records paper. The movie ends with three of them being together as best friends, and live happily forever and after.